Have you ever wondered where the concept of liberalism originated and how it has evolved over time? It's a fascinating journey, tracing the roots of this far-reaching ideology. From its inception, through its evolution, to its enduring influence in our modern world. What led to its birth? How has it transformed over the centuries? These questions lend themselves to an intriguing exploration of the history and metamorphosis of liberalism. Stay with me as we unravel the tapestry of liberalism, a political ideology that has shaped our world in many ways. Delving into the history of liberalism, we find its roots in the Age of Enlightenment, a period that spanned the 17th and 18th centuries. This was an era that prized reason, science, and intellectual interchange over traditional structures of authority and belief. The birth of liberalism was largely influenced by key figures such as John Locke and Adam Smith. Locke, an English philosopher, is often hailed as the father of liberalism. He championed the idea of a social contract, arguing that governments were created by individuals to protect their natural rights to life, liberty, and property. Adam Smith, on the other hand, was a Scottish economist who is often considered the pioneer of modern capitalism. His work, The Wealth of Nations, emphasized the benefits of free trade, competition, and choice, hallmarks of economic liberalism. Liberalism was born out of a desire for individual freedom and a profound belief in human reason. It was a response to the stifling constraints of absolute monarchy in the church, which dominated European society at the time. Liberalism argued for a society where individuals were free to pursue their own goals and ideas, without undue interference from the state or religious dogma. It's important to remember that liberalism was a radical concept in its time. It challenged the status quo and laid the groundwork for democratic societies as we know them today. Thus, liberalism began as a revolutionary idea that advocated for the rights and freedoms of the individual. Over the centuries, liberalism has evolved and adapted to the changing times. It's been a chameleon of sorts, taking on different shapes and hues to suit the shifting landscapes of politics, economics, and society. The birth of liberalism in the 18th century gave rise to what we now call classical liberalism. This version of liberalism was characterized by a strong belief in individual freedoms, limited government intervention, and free markets. It was the era of Adam Smith and John Locke, where the rights to life, liberty, and property were held sacred. But as the Industrial Revolution steamrolled ahead, the shortcomings of unchecked capitalism began to surface. The gap between the haves and the have-nots widened, and social unrest simmered. Enter the 20th century, and with it, the advent of social liberalism. This new form of liberalism sought to balance the scales. It held that the state had a role in addressing social inequities and providing a safety net for the less fortunate. This was no longer just about individual freedoms, but also about social justice and equality. Fast forward to the late 20th century, and another version of liberalism began to take shape: neoliberalism. This was a sort of return to classical liberalism, but with a twist. Neoliberalism championed free markets and global trade, but it also saw a role for the state in creating the right conditions for these markets to flourish. The neoliberal era was marked by deregulation, privatization, and a belief that market forces could deliver efficient and equitable outcomes. So you see, liberalism hasn't been a monolith. It's been a journey marked by adaptations and transformations. It's been shaped by the forces of time, by the changing needs and aspirations of societies. The liberalism of Locke and Smith is not the same as the liberalism of Roosevelt or Reagan. Thus, liberalism is not a static concept, but a dynamic ideology that has evolved over time to meet the changing needs of society. It's an ideology that's been flexible enough to bend, but strong enough not to break. That, perhaps, is the secret of its longevity and relevance. Liberalism, in its various forms, has had a profound impact on our world. It has shaped the political landscape, breathing life into democracies across the globe. Its principles of equality and liberty have informed constitutions, legislation, and political ideologies. Liberalism's emphasis on individual freedoms has pushed for the recognition and protection of human rights, making it a cornerstone of modern societies. On the economic front, liberalism has championed the idea of a free market economy. By advocating for minimal government intervention, it has allowed competition to thrive, fostering innovation and economic growth. In society, liberalism's influence is felt in the push for social justice, tolerance, and equality. It has encouraged societies to respect diversity, uphold human dignity, and strive for social progress. In conclusion, liberalism, despite its evolution and different forms, remains a powerful force that champions individual freedoms and human rights. To sum up, liberalism, born out of the Age of Enlightenment, has evolved over time and continues to shape our world. From its early roots in the fight for individual rights, through its evolution into various strands, to its profound global impact, liberalism has been a driving force in the course of human history. Its principles of liberty, equality, and justice still resonate today, influencing policy decisions and societal norms. So, the next time someone mentions liberalism, remember it's not just a political ideology, but a dynamic force that has shaped and continues to shape our world.